And there were strong words from Secretary of State Antony Blinken this morning about Russia after the Defense Secretary Lloyd met with Ukrainian President Zelenskyy. So Secretary Blinken also met with Zelenskyy, and he said that Russia is failing in its attacks against Ukraine as Washington vows to send more military aid.
Russia has sought as its principal aim to totally subjugate Ukraine, to take away its sovereignty, to take away its independence. That has failed. We don't know how the rest of this war will unfold, but we do know that a sovereign, independent Ukraine will be around a lot longer than Vladimir Putin's on the scene.
So we're going to talk a little bit more about this. Chris Livesay is joining me now from Kyiv. Chris, good morning.
Well, good morning, Anne-Marie. President Zelenskyy had told world leaders, if you come to Ukraine, please don't take, quote, tragic selfies, but bring the weapons we're asking for instead. This weekend, marking Easter in Ukraine, Zelenskyy got just what he asked for.
After a hushed meeting in Ukraine's capital, Secretary of State Antony Blinken said this morning in Poland that Ukraine is succeeding.
Russia continues to try to brutalize parts of the country, but Ukrainians are standing up, they're standing strong, and they're doing that with the support that we have coordinated from literally around the world.
Support Ukraine has been begging for, as Russia now aims to pummel into submission Ukraine's east as well as the south, launching at least 6 cruise missiles into the Black Sea port city of Odessa over this Orthodox Easter weekend. A strike on an apartment building killed 8 people, including a mother and her 3-month-old, city officials say. The father comes to save what memories are left. She was a great mother, friend, with all the best qualities, Yuri says. My world died, killed by a Russian missile, shattering hopes of an Easter ceasefire. In Irpin, the site of a brutal Russian massacre, finally, it wasn't the air raid sirens that were sounding, but the holiday is bittersweet.
This Easter has the taste of war.
Survivors like Daria had to celebrate for the first time without family members that were slaughtered.
Russian occupants killed my parents. They destroyed our house, and then they killed my parents by shooting.
Do you have a special prayer for this Easter?
I want that the war will be finished, and I want that Putin will be died, and I want that all Russian occupants will be died also.
Like Daria, for Ukrainians like Daria, every U.S. dollar and every U.S. bullet counts. One Ukrainian lawmaker told me at the beginning of the invasion, the West thought Ukraine would lose, but the latest aid, especially that heavy artillery, shows their minds are changing. Anne-Marie.
No, I'm curious, Chris, a number of world leaders have visited with Volodymyr Zelenskyy. I'm thinking about Boris Johnson and others. Of course, they got a visit from the Secretary of State and Secretary of Defense, not from the president, but I'm wondering if that even makes a difference in how this meeting is being received on the ground in Ukraine.
Well, actions speak louder than words, Anne-Marie, and that's something that Volodymyr Zelenskyy had been saying leading up to this meeting, that if somebody comes here, please have something to show for it. And it's not just the gesture itself, it's obviously the weapons. This is the real war that they're fighting to protect themselves. Let's remember that Ukraine is being invaded here. But it also shows that the U.S. believes in Ukraine now. I spoke to a lawmaker who told me, when you look at the original support that we were getting from the U.S., things like those disposable javelins, stingers, these types of weapons that were very good for guerrilla combat, it suggested the U.S. thought that Ukraine was not going to do very well in this invasion, that they were going to lose, and they were supporting what would eventually become an insurrection campaign here in Ukraine. That didn't happen. We're now 2 months into this war. Kyiv is still standing, and Blinken said in that statement that Ukraine is succeeding. So they're showing it by sending heavy artillery as well now. Not the kind of weapon you would give to a country you thought was going to lose that would then fall into the hands of an invading army.
So I want to talk about the current state of the war. As we know, it seems that Russia has pivoted, focusing on eastern Ukraine. The UK Defense Ministry released an intelligence update that claimed Ukraine has repelled numerous Russian assaults along the line of contact in Donbass in weeks. The update also said that Russia has made some territorial gains. What more do we know about Russia's efforts to take the eastern Ukrainian region?
Well, it's actually not going as quickly as one might expect. When Russia shifted its focus from Kyiv, military analysts say that it had a window of opportunity to strike Ukraine when they were tired, when they were down. You know, they had fought tooth and nail, and it takes time, not to mention energy and limited resources, to shift your focus to eastern Ukraine, which is on the Russian border, shorter supply lines for Russia, giving Russia all kinds of advantages it didn't have when it was trying to attack this area in northern Ukraine. But as days and weeks go by, it just gives Ukraine more time to rest and more time to get organized and to get more weapons and funds from foreign countries like the United States. So it is definitely a war of attrition. It's going to take time to really see how things develop in earnest. But as of now, it hasn't been that kind of blitz that we saw in Ukraine. Instead, what we're seeing is a kind of sporadic campaign of missile strikes, not just in eastern Ukraine, but also in western Ukraine, places like Vinnytsia, which is, you know, in central western Ukraine, that was struck today. So not anywhere near where Russia at least says its priorities are. It seems like a sporadic acts of terror are taking place, as opposed to a very specific and, you know, dare I say, intelligent way of warfare.
I find that really fascinating. Chris, thank you very much.